Thank you. Thank you. Madam Chair, allow me on behalf of the Romanian delegation to congratulate you on your election to the chairmanship of the third committee. Madam Chair, I wish to start with a story that impressed me, hoping that it will make the point to illustrate my idea. I was 4 when they put me in an institution. I remember a huge red gate and my sorrow. The next 10 years, my mother only visited twice. I was lucky, though. The head of the unit liked me and would bring me to her home. This helped me to overcome the trauma of abandonment. I was paralyzed with fear when leaving the system. I trembled when I entered university and people addressed me directly. No procedure, no drill, no protocol. On the street, I physically felt the world divided, kids from the children's homes and the others. I wasn't prepared for life, but finally I came to terms with my past and have come to understand the behavior of the children in the system, the only ones I could recognize as kin. The world outside considers them unable to work or to take on any responsibility. In fact, they are deeply insecure. Vincenzo, the young man who wrote this, is today a psychologist and is working for the Directorate for Social Assistance and Child Protection in Bucharest. Madam Chair, childcare in Romania has certainly come a long way since the communist rule. The strategy of the Romanian government is promoting today is to get as many children as possible out of the big homes, and almost all the large Ceausescu-era institutions have been closed down in favor of alternatives such as foster care, adoption, and small state-run homes. The number of children in care institutions has decreased dramatically in the last years. From 88,000 institutionalized children in 1997, in June 2006 the figure went down to 27,188 children, and that is mainly because Romania chose a different approach on the rights of the children. According to the UN Convention on the Rights of the child needs to grow up in a family environment, in an atmosphere of happiness, love and understanding. The Romanian government considers that the best way to solve the problem of children in institutionalized care is to protect the child within its family. A series of new services have been set up. These services help institutionalized children find new homes or to return to their natural families. They also help prevent the separation of children from their families and are aimed to prevent the institutionalization of children. Madam Chair, I wanted today to illustrate my speech by presenting figures about the number of children living around the world in institutionalized homes, in foster care or in their extended family, but there is little information on their situation at present. While we do have information about substantial steps forward in some cases and of steep declines in others, the problems of institutionalized children do not, alas, draw as much attention as those of other children in difficulty. Families provide the best protection for children and are most likely to create proper conditions for a healthy development. It is a fact, though a sad one, that children who are separated from their families become more vulnerable to abuse, exploitation, and neglect. Preventing the separation from families and providing professional services to maintain family unity should be therefore a priority. The Convention on the Rights of the Child acknowledges that the family is the natural environment for the development and well-being of children, that parents have the primary responsibility for the upbringing of the child, and the child has, at the largest extent possible, the right to know and be cared for by his or her parents. At the same time, the Convention foresees the appropriate use of substitute care for cases where children are deprived of their family environment, or in the cases when it is not in their best interest to remain in that environment, and in such cases anticipates recourse to institutional placement as a measure of last resort. The rights of the child must be effectively safeguarded when children are placed in such institutions, including the right to protection from discrimination, neglect and exploitation, the right to develop his or her personality, talents and abilities to the fullest potential, and the right to have a say in decisions affecting the child's life. Madam Chair, it is critical to ensure that institutional placement only occurs if and when it is in the best interest of the child, and that there is a periodic assessment and review of the decision and circumstances relevant to the child's placement. There are alternatives to institutionalization, fully respectful of children's rights and best interests. Madam Chair, sporadic or isolated efforts to improve individual institutions will not solve the problems of children in residential care or meet their immediate needs. Efforts must be made and to put a special focus on the underlying reasons for which children are placed in institutionalized care in the first place. Poverty, family breakdown, disability, but also inflexible child welfare systems and the lack of alternatives to residential care are factors that need to be tackled. And this could be achieved by identifying families at risk, assessing their needs, and preventing the removal of their young ones. Families, with special emphasis on women who are increasingly heads of households, should have the support they need to nurture and raise their children. In those few cases where children simply cannot receive the care they need within their family, family and community-based alternatives must be sought as a priority. Placement in residential institutions must be the very last resort, for we all should not forget that shelter has never been and will never be home. Thank you very much.
I thank the distinguished representative of Romania for her statements, and